Hey, it's your girl Abby, aka New Age Coach here, and I am lighting the way for those on their way to the lights. And this is a little bit more of clearly a serious episode where we titled it Black with Bay because it's a pretty heavy time right now for everyone. So the first thing we wanted to just address is to make sure that we are reminding everyone of the most important thing at times like this, which is spreading love and not fear and hate, right? So throw a little heart emoji in the comments. That'll let us know that you guys are doing okay. And really, it'll just be symbolic here that we're just sharing that love with everyone in this community watching this video. But I'll let you kind of kick us off and really kind of address the unfortunate events that have been transpiring.
Yeah. Um, First of all, I just want to, thank everybody that's out there, you know, sort of putting forward the message, of unity, a message of togetherness. And these are heavy times, it's real. Um, Lives of people are being affected. And I'm not gonna be one of those guys who just says, "Oh, look, eh, we make progress when we come together as a humanity. Whenever there's progress made, it's everybody coming together and lifting each other up. The pain is real. I'm a black man in America. I'm not an African American. I am an African in America. And I do understand the struggle of African Americans, and it is real, it is deep, and I kind of walk in the same shadows as them as a black man in America. Um, you can't take for granted somebody's pain. When people come to you and say, "Hey, I'm in pain over A, B, C, and D," I think it's time for America to come to the side of righteousness. There's a time and point. Clearly, these things have been happening, but I want to say the universe is definitely. I was just thinking about it today. Um, think about it. All these things are happening. We have the coronavirus happening. We have 40 million people who are unemployed. That's why you see everyone, all races out there. Maybe the universe is trying to address this once and for all and say, hey, you need to come to an understanding and you need to fix it. In South Africa, I'm from Zimbabwe, but South Africa is a neighboring country. They had apartheid, and apartheid is racism on steroids. It is a different kind of racism. But when they got their independence, they put their swords down, and Nelson Mandela said it is imperative that we look at our oppressors as our brothers and sisters now. They did what they call a truth and reconciliation process, where every issue that had anything to do with apartheid was put to the table. Everybody came and addressed the issue of racism. Maybe America needs to have that talk now. Everybody come and have a truth and reconciliation process where the truth is put on the table and the debt that's owed to African Americans, some might call it reparations or whatever you want to call it, but just the acknowledgement of this cancer that exists in America and to figure out a way to do with it. And Like I said, I do not condone those who are out there, looting. That's not it. It minimizes the issue. Let's put forward our best leg, and let's go and let the message be heard. There are forces obviously that are in this, that are playing it out. They wanna, but let's show people that we have an issue that needs to be addressed, and let it be addressed, and let's let's fight the good fight.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I would say, we're not here to tell anyone how to feel either, right? I think a lot of the conversations in the media are, you just mentioned you don't agree with looting, but I don't agree with also telling people how to handle their emotions, right?
Yeah.
Because you can only do something so many times, right? What's the definition of insanity? Doing something over and over again and expecting a different result. So if there have been times where we've peacefully protested or we've tried to do things in a certain way and we're not being heard, and yet all of these systemic things were in place to keep it that way, who is to say what's right or wrong right now? Because, there are emotions that just need to be dealt with. And we know on the spiritual path, the more that you ignore those emotions and ignore them and suppress them and push them down, there's a come to Jesus moment for everybody where that has to come out. You have to face it. You have to look at it. So I think how we deal with it is subjective. I think the more important part, instead of focusing on the how, is that we focus on it, that we put awareness on it, that we see it, and that's collectively as a society. And I think that we have a huge opportunity right now. And I think that it's time for us to really think smart and work together. And really, it's about being creative and thinking of new ways. You don't like the education system, how we get more folks that look like us to be teachers. You don't like the judicial system, how we get more folks like us to get into those positions. We don't like, the powers that be. We have to really think of new strategic ways to collaborate, to mobilize, right, to strategize, and to get together in an effective way. And I think that's the catch-22. We don't yet know what that is, but we have an opportunity right now, and it first starts with awareness. So we wanted to just make this video to say our hearts are all hurting right now. Every feeling is valid, no matter what that is, from anger to grief to sadness to all of it. It's all valid. And it, in a spiritual concept and premise, it's just so simple, right? You just wish people could wake up and see that the light in me honors the light in you, right? Namaste. It's because we all come from that same light, that same source. We all have the same origins, in a grander perspective. And we really just need to think a little bit smarter and work a little bit harder at this time to figure out how to convey that message more productively. So we want to say that we love you. We are thinking about you. We know in your shoes, being scared that someone you love might not come home that day. It's real. I mean, the fear is real, but what we talk about is, guess what? We started this video with love is more powerful than fear. And sometimes those of you, if you're anything like me, you might be thinking, oh my gosh, racking your brain, like, how can I help? How can I help? And sometimes that makes you feel self-helpless, right? So there's always one way you can help. And one, we've talked on this channel how important intentions are, how important energy is, how important our inner world is, right? So some things that you can do without physically supporting Black-owned businesses and buying products, or, donating to local charities, or getting on the streets and protesting. If those aren't ways that you feel, you're able to do at this time for a number of factors, meditate. Imagine if we all just stopped, right? Dropped onto the knees in the floor. Imagine if in those protests we all just got on our knees as the world and started meditating. There's nothing they can do because that's our inner world. You can send loving thoughts. You can send loving intentions. If you have any of your friends or people on the street saying things that are inappropriate, stop letting the silence continue. Don't be that person that turns a cheek to a racist comment or a racist joke. Like, this is the time to use your voice and speak up. This is, if you have a social media platform, start having these conversations. Not everyone has to agree on every point, but we need to have these conversations. There's so many ways that you can just help by even that internal work that you're doing to process your own emotions, to start thinking of creative, strategic ways that you can help. That is actually helping, processing your own feelings, because you can't help anyone until we help ourselves. We also know that as a spiritual concept. So I know that all seems so kumbaya, but like at the end of the day, that's the fundamental concept of faith. And the more you can work on that inner faith, it'll give you the new belief system, which will then affect the actions that you go and take, will then give you the courage to be like, no, I don't have to be scared of this. I don't just have to accept what the media is telling me. You can do other things like research. We talk about that all the time. Sometimes there's an illusion out here, right? In spirituality, there are certain things that look one way, but if you start looking up the meanings behind things, why certain laws are the way they are, why certain commercials are being shown to us, what the hidden messages are, you start to come to your own conclusions. So just always have a moment of reflection and perspective, and then check in with your internal guidance system to make sure you're taking in the things that make sense for you in kind of your own understanding of what's going on. So this is a really long video, but the real intent of this is to just keep the love strong and to keep talking, keep sharing, keep loving people. Just keep loving. That's literally the simplest answer.
God bless you, and we will see this through. Thank you.